I got a D100 for Christmas. So we're going to talk about wild magic sorcery. Welcome back, everybody. I've decided to start diversifying my content a little bit and talking about all of the things I love, which include Dungeons and Dragons. So today I want to talk about my favorite sorcerer subclass, Wild Magic Sorcerer, and the things that I think that we should do to fix the class. Now, before we do that, we got to do all the YouTube stuff. So, if you like this video, if you like this content, hit a like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. You know the drill. Enough about that. Thematically, the Wild Magic Sorcerer is the premier sorcerer. It is the exact opposite of a wizard in pretty much every way. Where wizards will study meticulously for years to master the perfect spells, Wild Magic Sorcerers are just fonts of dumb luck and random talent. And the fact that they are prone to just bursts of energy that they can't control is unthinkable to a wizard. So on paper, I think that they add a lot to the roleplay and to the story of your D&D campaign, but they do have some problems, and they are, in my opinion, twofold. One, it puts a lot on the DM that doesn't need to be there. Your class should belong to the player. They should be able to control their class, and I feel like this puts, as written, a lot onto the DM that doesn't need to be there. And two, you don't really get an opportunity to roll on the wild magic table as much as you want. So I think there are a couple of easy solutions to fix this, and I want to go over those now. Change number one, let the player be in charge. The first ability that you get is Wild Magic Surge, and as written, it says that whenever you cast a leveled spell, the DM can choose to have you roll a d20. If it's a 1, then something happens on the Wild Magic table. I say, first things first, we're going to scrap that section that says the DM can choose to have you roll, and instead, it's just going to say whenever you cast a leveled spell, roll a d20. If it's a 1, something wild happens. And the reason for this is twofold. One, it's your class feature. You should be allowed to be in charge of your class feature. That's not something the DM needs to be in charge of. The DM is spinning enough plates. Heaven forbid they forget that that's something that you need to do because they've got everything else, and you just go through 2-3 sessions without ever having to roll when you cast a leveled spell at all. And that's not fun for either of you because the DM now feels bad that they've forgotten something and you haven't gotten to do the thing that you picked your class to do. So first things first, put that power back in the hands of the player. And the second reason for this is because this is going to dramatically increase the opportunity for you to have to roll on the wild magic table, because your odds are already only 1 in 20. If you're now also playing into the whim of the DM to have you roll, that's just going to lower that opportunity even more. So I say shoot the monk, let them do the thing that they picked the class to do, and just have the player roll for the if something wild happens on every single leveled spell. It's really not going to be as many as you think. Change number 2, mastering the tides. The second ability that you get at first level is called Tides of Chaos, and this one is needlessly complicated. As written, it says that you can manipulate the forces of chaos to give yourself advantage on one attack roll, skill check, or saving throw per long rest, once per long rest. And then at the DM's discretion, anytime you cast a leveled spell, they can choose to have you immediately roll on the wild magic table to replenish this ability. Again, this wording puts so much more power in the hands of the DM than the player, and I just don't like that. So what we're going to do is we are going to break this ability in order to fix it. Stay with me. What we're going to do is reflavor this ability to really reflect not only the sorcerer's ability to naturally enhance their skills with their magic, but also their inability to control how that magic is going to manifest itself. We're going to change the wording of the ability to once per turn, as long as you are conscious, You can manipulate the forces of chaos to grant yourself advantage on one attack roll, skill check, or saving throw, but you must immediately roll on the wild magic table at the same time. What this is going to do is force the player to now have not only control over their own ability, which again is great, it's going to force them to play a mini game with themselves. Is it worth giving myself advantage when I'm talking to the king, when I might turn myself into a sheep, or transport to the astral plane out of nowhere, or cast a fireball centered on myself? You know, like, the number of things that could possibly happen really makes them question whether or not it's worth it to give themselves advantage. But now the player has something to play with, as opposed to just the DM telling them when to do something. And if you're worried about balance, honestly, I think that the wild magic table does a pretty good job of balancing itself. I suppose you could make this ability like a number of times per day equal to your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus, or something like that. But I think it's just going to be more fun to let the wild magic table create its own consequences and let your player have the choice on whether or not it is worth it to give themselves advantage in this situation, knowing the potential cost. Now, the changes that we've made are going to add a lot more wild magic to your table, which I think is for the best. If this is the kind of character that your players want to play, it's really going to give them an opportunity to shine in the ways that they wanted to. And that's one of the things we as DMs always want to facilitate for our players, is to let them shine in the ways that they want to shine. It all goes back to that shoot the monk mentality. If you're worried that this is going to become too stale because they're rolling a lot on the same table, I recommend going to the internet and looking at other wild magic tables that fans have put together. You may not want to use their entire table because maybe it's a little too harsh, maybe it's a little too light, but you might be able to swap out some of the entries on the table that you've maybe seen once or twice already, or you just don't particularly like, and reflavor the chart as you see fit, as fits your world and your table. The most important thing when it comes to any D&D game is having fun, and wild magic might not be your cup of tea, or it might be exactly what your table needs to really have a great time. My ultimate advice is always, whatever is fun for your table is the right way to play. So make sure that you're just doing whatever is the most fun for you and your friends, and don't listen to what some random guy on the internet says if you don't agree. But with all that being said, those are the ways that I would change the Wild Magic Sorcerer to make it, in my opinion, the most fun spellcasting class in the entire game. So what are some other things that you guys like to do to make the game more fun at your table? What are some other things that you'd like for me to talk about in this particular D&D space? Let me know. And on the way out, don't forget to do all of the YouTube stuff, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the stuff that helps the algorithm. It is always really appreciated. I thank you very much. And until next time, you know, I got no tagline.
You are now leaving the SK base. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And never forget, the Force will be with you, always.